In this video, we are going to look at 10 things you can do when you are building and you run out of cash. Coming up next. Okay, so we got a message from one of our followers on Instagram. He says, "Hi, my name is George. I'm building my house at OEB. I'm currently at the electrical and POP stage. I've just started purchasing the electrical wires and bits as per the list from the electrician. I've also taken the measurements with the POP guy and I'm waiting for his estimate also. I am down raising money. I would need your advice on what to do next." So I asked him, "Thanks for sharing your project progress. I'm not sure what you mean by you are down, right? Because you don't want to make any assumptions." He says, "What I meant is, advise me on how I can complete the project. My cash flow is not regular and the cost of items keeps rising. I also need to move from where I live now before the year ends. I need your advice and how to continue with the little income I make." So our good friend George has like 4 key things, right? He has started a building project. We can deduce that he's completed the roofing on the building project. In fact, he came on our TikTok live yesterday and made some clarifications. He's building a 1-bedroom story building, right? Now, what he needs to do is to do the wiring and also do POP, right? So he's gotten to a certain level. He's put all his money into the building project and he's broke currently, and I can relate. I have also reached a stage in my building project where I need funds, but the funds are not coming. I was expecting some money to come this week. It didn't come, and I need to do some work. And I'm sure most of you can also relate where there have been times where the cash flow wasn't coming as you expected. Now, his third point, which is a bit concerning, is that he needs to move out of where he is living by the end of this year, 2023. So since we are in March, he has essentially 9 months to complete his building project to a sufficient level to be able to move in and avoid paying rent. So assuming where he's living, he's paying rent, he doesn't want to renew, or he doesn't have enough money to even pay his rent. So this is the scenario, and this is what we are going to look at in the next 10 steps. So when you get to a stage where you have run out of cash, right, the very first thing I would advise is relax and review the levels of work that need to be done. So for our good friend George, he has identified that he needs to do the wiring. He's got an estimate from the electrician. He knows the materials he needs to purchase. So when he gets some small money, he'll go and purchase it. He also knows he needs to do POP, but he's saying the POP guy has not given him the estimate of the materials to go and purchase. But he's told him that it's going to cost you, let's say, 20,000 cedis for the POP. But he wants to know the individual cost of the material. So let's say the POP, cement and the fiber and every other thing that's going to go into the POP, right? So that one too, he can budget for it and be buying it bit by bit. And that's a really good thing that he's doing. So for me, on my building project, I recently went to clear the land so that we can build a wall and complete the rest of the work, which is ongoing. Now, when I did so, it immediately brought up something that I hadn't planned to do. And this was to buy blocks, because we are almost like in the rainy season. Nowadays it rains a lot. And the backhoe or excavator or whatever you call that machine, which came to like clear the land and made it like a bit level, right? Pushed all the sediments or the materials, the sand and the stones that it carried, it pushed all to one side of the house, right? So we want to fill that side of the house so that we can even build on top of it. Do you understand? And the way it's done, any small rain will bring all the sand and stones back down, and it's going to be a cost 90 job, right? So immediately I need to go and buy blocks, I need to buy cement, I need to buy iron rods. In my mind, I was just going to clear the land. Then when I get money, I will continue the rest of the things. So the point is, you need to be able to assess the outstanding activities that you are going to do at that stage where your money got finished, right? So for me, I know I need to buy about 500 blocks, solid blocks. Today, 5 inches solid block is selling for about 7 Ghana cedis. So 500 is 3,500. I know I need to buy about 20 bags of cement. Even if I budget a bag of cement for 100 cedis, that's 2,000. So that takes us to 5,500. I've added transportation to the cement. That's why I'm budgeting it at that price. Then I know I need to buy iron rods as well, because I need to do the wall. So I'll probably buy like 16 millimeters. If you watch our videos on the price of building materials on our main channel, I'm going to leave a link at the end of the video so that you can watch it if you are new to that channel. Then you know that 16 millimeters iron rod, a ton today is selling between 7,600 to 8,800. Some places are even selling it at about 11,000. The worst case scenario, even if I budget, let's say 9,000 cedis for a ton of iron rods. Right now, I'm hitting 14,500 Ghana cedis for my wall. I need to buy stones as well. I need to buy water, and then I need to consider the cost of labor. So this is going to take me somewhere to almost 20,000 Ghana cedis, which I don't have. So I need to relax and then itemize each of the activities, the materials, the labor cost, and then it gives me an idea. And that is what will take us into the next steps, which is really important. So the second point that I put is, if you have a partner, that's great, because he or she may be able to help. Sometimes we carry the burden of building on our own, especially as men, because we feel that, like in Akan, there's a saying which says, it's something like, it's a man who is able to face the heat of the fire. Do you understand? It doesn't have to be that way, especially if you are married and your wife is also working. You don't have to carry the whole burden of the building on yourself. Or if you have a fiancé and you guys are planning on getting married, or if you're a woman and you have a husband, he can also help, right? So if you have a partner, it helps to divide the labor and you don't need to shoulder all the burden. If you don't have a partner who can assist you to share the burden of completing, for example, this 20,000 cedis cost I need to do, then you can consider going to buy items on credit. Now, it's not going to be that easy, because it's not every merchant who is going to accept credit terms of payment. But then if you've been able to build your project to like roofing stage, it means you've worked with masons, you've worked with carpenters, you've probably worked with plumbers. If you're somebody who has like credibility and you've been dealing well with these people, you've been tipping them small, you've been treating them well, you've been relating well with them, and this is the time for you to also ask for some favors, right? So for example, if you've been buying your cement at a particular merchant's place, he knows you by now, right? Because from your foundation till now, you've probably used about 200 bags of cement. So if you want 20 and you tell him, oh, your salary is going to come in a week, but because of the rains and everything, you want the cement on credit, he knows where you are building. You've been buying it from him. If he agrees, that's a good way to continue your project and not have your efforts wasted. I hope that makes sense. It's also very difficult to get merchants like this, but you don't need to give up. So you can find one or two merchants, like ask around. Somebody may be willing to get it for you on credit, especially if you are working with a contractor. Then that contractor has been working with the merchants for years, right? So they can put in a word for you that, oh, Charlie, my clients, no, Charlie, this time why shake a crowd, so bueno, like money into your bit in a month or a week or whatever. And that's going to be based on the credibility and reputation of the contractor and his relationship with the merchants. And that's why it's a really good thing to work with contractors like us, who have a range of merchants that we have worked with and we continue to work with to help you complete your building project in good time. We understand these things, but if you don't have somebody who can help you, sometimes it's very difficult. Now, if you have some amount of money, but it's not up to, let's say, I needed to buy 500 blocks, 5 inches solid blocks, right? And that's going to cost 3,500, but I have just, let's say, 2,000 cedis. You could also find a merchant who would agree for you to pay in installments, right? This one is not like I don't have any money, give it to me, I'll pay next week or I'll pay at the end of the month. This is, I have 2,000, but I need 500, else my building project can suffer. So can I give you the 2,000, supply me the 500, and I'll pay you the outstanding balance in a week or 2 weeks or a month. And please be somebody who is true to your word. When you promise a week, pay back during the week. If there's any reason why you cannot pay, then you need to let the contractor know as well, or the merchant know that, oh, maybe I've run into some unexpected scenario. But always try and be somebody who keeps your word, so that in future, if you need another favor, people can vouch for you, they can come in for you. Don't give up. Sometimes you may ask one person, the person may not agree, but go and ask the second, third, fourth, fifth person. The fifth point, so assuming you don't have a partner, assuming the merchant doesn't want to give you credit, assuming the merchant will not take installments, what you can do is to ask your friends or family. I know sometimes it's embarrassing, or sometimes you don't want to bother people, especially if you are like me. And there are only about 2 people I ask for money when I'm really, really in need. Like, I find it so difficult asking people for money. If you have a supportive family and friend system, then you can ask for some money and make sure you pay back as well, right? Now, the third point is, if you are somebody who is shy or doesn't have any family or friend support system, then what you can do is to also sell some things that you may not need. You may think, but I need everything I have. My guy, my dear friend, my brother, my sister, and maybe a lot of things that you have that you don't really need right now. Or if you're a guy, it could be like your video game and you could sell it and make money. So like I have a PS4, but because of the nature of my corporate work and everything, I don't get enough time to play my PS4. So what I could do is to sell my PlayStation 4. I could get like 3,000, 4,000 Ghana cedis. And then I could use it to start the block, buying the blocks and stuff like that. So look around you and try and identify some of the items you no longer use. Maybe you have like 2 or 3 irons, you have like 2 washing machines, one you are keeping so that when the other gets spoiled, you can, Charlie, right now, you need the money now, present value of money. So sell some of the things you don't need. Like maybe you might have 2 or 3 cars at home. Now, if you looked around, you sold everything, but you still don't have enough money to complete a building project, then the next thing I'm going to recommend that you do is to go for a bank loan, right? A bank loan usually has a moderate, reasonable interest rate as opposed to some of these microfinances and other lending schemes, right? So when you go for a bank loan of, let's say, 30%, and you go for 10,000 cedis, it means at the end of the year, you're going to pay like 3,000 cedis interest. If it allows you to complete your building project now, that makes more sense than waiting 1 whole year. Let me give you some statistics. A year ago, a bag of tile cement was selling at 20 Ghana cedis. Today, it's selling at 41 Ghana cedis. That's 100% increase. So if you had a loan which had an interest of 30%, essentially you are saving 70%. A year ago, a bag of cement was like around 40, 50 Ghana cedis. Today it's almost at 100 Ghana cedis, 94, 95 Ghana cedis. So again, it's almost like doubled, right? Iron rods were selling between 3,000, 4,000. Now they are selling at 8,000, 11,000, right? So everything has almost doubled in Ghana within the year. So if you go for a loan, I think it makes financial sense during this period. Now let's look at the worst case scenario. Like you went to the bank, but you still didn't qualify for a loan, right? You are disheartened and you are feeling depressed and everything. Don't feel depressed. In the case of George like this, right? He says he's completed the roofing. He's bought the electrical wires. Do you really need POP before you move into your house? Like, no. Do you need tiles before you move into your house? No. Sometimes do the barest minimum that you can move into. You have electricity, you have your toilets and bathrooms, your sinks, you have your borehole or manhole or whatever, a source of water. Guy, move in. Your wall may not be complete, but move in. You may not have a gate, but move in and save yourself the rest of the 9 months of rent you are going to pay this year. And use that money to complete your building project. Assuming where he's staying, he's paying even 700 Ghana cedis a month. Then 7 times 9 or 10 months is 7,000 Ghana cedis, which can go a long way to help him complete some of the other items. So sometimes you need to take certain drastic measures. I remember some of our parents moved into their homes when the houses were not totally completed, right? So like my dad in 2000 moved into his house. There was no electricity. There were no tiles. But we moved in. The floor was just plastered. And we moved in and we stayed there for like 2 or 3 years before he had enough money to get the electricity, get the tiles and everything. We survived and today we are here. I'm not saying you need to do exactly that, but try and see which of the items are not a showstopper. Like POP like this, I don't think it's a showstopper. You have a roof above your head, you have electricity, you can iron and go to work. I think it's enough. Right? You don't need to have pavements, blocks, you don't need tiles. It's nice to have, but they are not showstoppers. So you need to try and identify the barest minimum items and then get those things and move in. Okay, so we imagine that by now you've moved into your house, right? You still don't have a lot of money anyways. Another thing you can do is to do it yourself, right? So if you have the skill and the knowledge, and there are certain things you can do to save cost, like buying your solar panels on your own and then installing it because you have the knowledge, you can do that. If you know how to mix the ratios of sand, cement and stuff like that for your block work, you can do that. Now the 10th point is try and find an additional source of income, because the Ghana we find ourselves in today is a very difficult economy, right? We live in a very difficult economy in Ghana. And so one source of income is not going to help you, especially if you are running low on cash. Are you a teacher and you close at 2-3? Can you organize extra classes? Can you do vacation classes? Can you learn a skill, like a digital skill, like video editing, graphic design, UI, UX design, web design, etc. These things are things that you can do even after you've closed from your corporate work. Or you can also do a YouTube. Like, I work in a corporate environment. I'm also helping people build their houses. But when I come home, even as late as it is, see the way I'm sweating, I'm still recording videos to try and get maybe a few extra $100 at the end of the month to augment my income and to help me continue my building project. So try and find out something that you can also do. You could, if your car is there and you close from work, you could use it like as an Uber and then pick people who are moving in your direction, charge them something. In the month, maybe you could make an extra $200, $300. And that could also push your building project really, really far. I hope that makes sense, because just one source of income, unless your income is really great, then you will not be watching this video. But you are watching this because your income is probably not sufficient to meet the kind of building you want to put up. So try and find something else that you can do, whether active income or passive income. Passive income means like my YouTube. Once I come and sit here and I record, the more people keep watching, the more I get, some coins on the ad revenue and all that. A year from now, the video will still be there, making me some small coins. So that's good. Once you build a library of videos that people are watching, even if you are not recording videos, you'll still be making money. But active income is something that you need to be doing to earn the money, like you are driving the car yourself as a Uber driver. If you don't drive, you don't get any money, right? But then you could also buy 2 or 3 cars and give it to people, and they'll be working and bringing you the money. Now, the final one is a bonus. If you've tried all these 10 tips and it's still not working for you, I'll just advise, take it easy. Rest, right? Write all the items down so that when you're resting, you don't keep thinking about it. It helps your brain to relax a bit. And just calm down, because worrying too much is also not going to bring you money. Also add your own experiences and tips in the comments below. And if you are concerned about the prices of building materials, click this video to see the latest prices of building materials on my main channel. And if you are new to that channel, subscribe. Thanks, Bebre.